Project Anoxia, Chapter 14, Signal. Humanity ended, but something didn't, and whatever remained was never waiting for us. The system did not end with humanity. It continued. At 600 UTC, there were no humans left capable of perception. No coordinated movement, no intentional action, no awareness remained. The cities stood as they had been, structures intact, lights still flickering in isolated grids, systems running until they could no longer sustain themselves. But something persisted. The pattern. At 620 UTC, the acoustic signal continued to propagate through the depths of the ocean, uninterrupted, unchanged. Its duration extended 120 seconds, then repeated. There was no deviation, no error. It did not require observers. It did not require response. At 700 UTC, atmospheric composition continued its shift. Oxygen levels declined steadily. The unknown gas expanded. It filled spaces uniformly now, no longer settling, no longer stratifying. There were no bodies moving through it, no lungs attempting to filter it, no resistance. At 810 UTC, something altered. Not in the atmosphere, not in the signal, in the interface between them. The signal was never separate from the gas. It was the structure within it. At extreme ocean depths, far below the last monitoring stations that had once recorded the first anomaly, pressure zones shifted. Not violently, not geologically, subtly. The same regions where oxygen depletion had first been observed, the same regions where the signal originated. Activity increased, not chemical, not thermal, structured. At 900 UTC, the signal extended again, 137 seconds, then repeated. At 1020 UTC, a variation appeared, not in timing, in layering, a secondary pattern, fainter, embedded within the first. It did not replace the original, it accompanied it. At 1100 UTC, the atmospheric composition reached a new threshold. Oxygen, no longer dominant. The unknown gas, primary. The transition completed. At 1140 UTC, the system stabilized, not temporarily, structurally. There were no fluctuations, no oscillations, only continuation. At 1230 UTC, the layered signal repeated, longer, more complex, not random, never random. At 1310 UTC, in the absence of human interference, the pattern expanded. It did not require synchronization now. There was nothing left to synchronize. At 1400 UTC, the second layer strengthened. Its structure began to resemble something else. Not respiration, not exactly, but similar. A cycle. Input, pause, output, pause. At 1520 UTC, the system reached equilibrium. Oceanic, atmospheric, aligned. The boundary between them blurred. Exchange increased, not of oxygen, of the unknown gas. At 1600 UTC, the signal propagated further, beyond its original regions, across the ocean floor, spreading. At 1730 UTC, the secondary pattern stabilized fully. It no longer fluctuated. It repeated with precision equal to the first, two patterns, running together, perfectly synchronized. At 1810 UTC, the implication became unavoidable. The system had not ended. It had completed its first phase. At 1900 UTC, the environment was no longer hostile. It was adapted, not for what had existed before, but for what followed. At 2000 UTC, the signal extended again, 150 seconds. 2 layers. Perfect. At 21:30 UTC, deep beneath the surface, something responded. Not to the environment, to the pattern. A shift, minimal, but present. At 2200 UTC, it repeated, aligned. At 2300 UTC, the system continued, no longer waiting, no longer adjusting, operating. At 0100 UTC, the signal remained, and for the first time since the beginning, something else did too. Thanks for listening to Chapter 14, Signal. If you like our show, please subscribe and share with your friends and family. The system continued, unchanged, uninterrupted. Final chapter, next. This has been a Last Echo Archive production.